Hello there. It is 1:20 a.m., January 23rd. Just working another graveyard shift, like always. Always got blades on me, so wanted to do another review on a knife of mine that needs a review. I finally got a tripod. It's a shitty tripod, but I've never had one. It was a pain in the ass having to hold my phone. So I'm excited I get to use two hands now. Hey, that's what she said. So, this is my CRKT M21-14SF. Overall, it's about a 9.2, 9.3 inch knife, 3.8 inch blade, 5.3 inch handle, made out of T6 aluminum. I think it's anodized, I'm not sure. The way it's held up, I'm pretty sure it's anodized. AUS 8 steel, or AUS 8. Titanium nitride coating on the blade. The maker, designer, is Kit Carson. Made in Taiwan. The price of this knife, I bought it like 5 years ago on Blade Play, which is now Grindworks. They changed their name. It was like 77, 80 bucks maybe, a little under 80. And they have this exact same knife, just a Tonto blade, same handle and everything, same size. And that one was even cheaper than this knife back in the day. It was a couple bucks cheaper, maybe like 65, just under 70 bucks. And that same knife is now like $100 they're charging for it. I saw it on Blade HQ. So they're charging like $30, $40 more for that knife, but this knife, it was 80 back in the day, and now they're charging like 85. So that's not too crazy on the price increase, but the other one, the M16, I was just losing my mind, like, what the fuck? This knife has a lot of sentimental value to me. It's very special. Me and this knife have seen better days, you could say. Let's do a little story time. Fuck it. So crack open a brewski, or pack a little bolski, and let's jump in. So I was working at Jack in the Box 2018 graveyard shift, like now, and I was mopping the floors, sweeping up, and I'm by the front counter, by the lobby. The Jack in the Box I worked at, they kept the lobby closed at night and just kept the drive-thru open. And I hear like 5 or 6 loud ass bangs. Something's hitting the window. And after the 5th bang, boom, a big ass rock comes sliding across the floor. So I immediately know what's happened. Someone's fucking breaking in. They bashed out the window. And I was working with one other person. It was some chick, and she was like towards the back door, doing something. And as soon as that happened, she took off out the back door running. And the position that I was in, I was so close to the door, I didn't even think I was going to have a second to take off running. I felt like I would have got shot in the back if I took off, because I thought I was going to be face to face with whoever bashed in the window as soon as they broke the glass. But 5 or 6 seconds went by maybe after they bashed out the window. When the window broke, I just immediately waved this out of my pocket within a second. Had this out ready to stab and slash what was around that corner, and the front door was around the corner to the front counter, so I couldn't exactly see who was breaking in. I couldn't see who was out there, how many people. Couldn't see, what they brought to play with. I just knew someone was breaking in, and I could be, face to face, toe to toe with them within a second. So I whipped this out, and 5 or 6 seconds went by, and I was still standing there staring at the corner. So I realized they were probably knocking the rest of the glass off the outside of the window so they wouldn't get cut before they climbed in. So as soon as I saw that window, that opportunity, I was like, well, what the fuck am I doing? I put my knife away, put it in my pocket, and just took off out the back door. I didn't want to have my knife in my hand when I was running. but I wanted it to be able to be deployed in a second if I needed it again. So I was ready, but I put it away, took off running, went out the back door, and I looked around the corner from the back door to see like if anyone was in front, if anyone ran by, and the dude that broke in was already down the alley. He already took off running down the alley. So I made sure I got the fuck out of there, got to safety, and the best fight is the one you're not in. That's what they always say. So I had this blade in my hands when I was balls deep in the shit, thinking I was gonna die, thinking I was gonna get stabbed or beat to death with some bats or shot by a gang of crackheads. You know, I didn't know what was around the other side of that corner. So you can't always assume that someone's gonna jump straight to killing you if they're breaking into place you're working at, but you should never assume that someone's not going to hurt you if your life is on the line. That's something you should never do, and that's exactly what I didn't do. I was ready to fucking fight. You know, I'm not an expert knife fighter or fucking Frank Castle or anything, but I would know how to defend myself with a blade if someone's trying to kill me, if I had to. So this blade is very special to me. Has a lot of sentimental value. If I had to choose a folder to be buried with me, it would be this knife. I know a lot of people out there probably cringe and like, what, a CRKT knife? That's what you would have buried with you, really? Yeah. That's my blade. Here's a little blade comparison. Spyderco Police 4 lightweight. Always got that blade with me. And Victorinox Deluxe Tinker. Always got this shit with me too. I pretty much use it as a dedicated can opener. I just got it and it's all already scratched up. I don't care, just showing you that I've used this a lot. So it's close to the Police 4 with the handle length. I guess you could say, yeah, the Police 4 handle's just a little bit longer. And obviously the blade's longer. Here's its little brother, M21-14SF. I just got this blade. This is an awesome blade. This is a rare blade now, I guess you can say. Discontinued. You wouldn't be able to find this online. This has a 3.5-inch blade. Same steel. AUS 8. Bead blasted blade. Zytel handles. This is aluminum. This is plastic, you know, Zytel pretty much. And for the best blade comparison. Oh yeah. M21-14SF. The same exact knife, but different blade style. Tonto blade. And if you notice the writing, printing on there is slightly different for some reason. I don't know why. None of these are a counterfeit. None of these are fake. They're all legit CRKTs. But yeah, you see the M21 print is different than these two. These ones are like matching. But, these are the same too. On this side, the logo on these both M16s. It says CRKT, and then you see there's like a little slit through the K for some reason, but this one doesn't have that, and it has a little mountains with a river running through it. I guess that's our little logo, and it has a little R right there, a little trademark thing. So yeah, I don't know what's up with that, and I have the medium version of this knife. It's the same size as this one. So imagine this knife, but it looks like that. Is that size, but with all blacked out aluminum handles, dual hilts. It has that thing, you know. And the logo on that one looks just like this. it has the little fucking river thingy, but they have it printed like slapped in the middle of the blade, right, like right here, instead of up here, because that's a smaller blade. Like they had room to print it right there for some reason. They printed it right here though. I don't know. And I think the wording, the printing on that one looks, long ways versus this, how they stacked it, like the name, the patent number, then the maker. Here they put the maker name and then the patent number. Is kind of weird. So yeah, they're all legit CRKTs, but for some reason the printing and the logos are a little different on all of them. The blade wear on this, it's AUS 8, so it's a soft steel, so it could, get chipped or rolled really easily. But for this, I haven't had any chips over 5 years of having this knife. I haven't really abused it, but I've cut a bunch of shit. Cut uh, wood, cardboard, fucking thick ass plastic. I think I cut through like metal cans with this before. And you can see right there, it's got some wear right there. That's from when I didn't know jack shit about sharpening. I still don't really know that much, but I knew way less than I know now, and I held it too flat to the stone and fucked it up right there. But everything else is from using it. And it's pretty easy to reprofile to. I think once I dropped it on the tip on the table or something. The AUS 8 is really easy to sharpen and reprofile, and just gets you more familiar with sharpening. That's why I like the cheaper steels. You get to sharpen more. And the rust doesn't exist on this knife at all because of the aluminum is corrosion resistant and the titanium nitride coating on the blade. The only place it could rust is on the fucking edge of the blade, the bevel right there. Everything else on the knife, you could have soaking wet hands and get water all over the knife and then just set it down and leave it and come back later, and it will have no fucking rust on it at all because the coating and the materials. You can see I've dropped this knife like 100 times. Well, not 100 times, but shit, like 20, 30 times. I don't know. I've dropped it on the road, like dropped it on fucking concrete, on pavement, on tile, I'm sure. Not purposely, just accidentally. Or someone was using it and they fucking dropped it. But yeah. Compared to this knife, this one looks brand new. You can see on the pocket clip it's worn, from bumping, scraping into shit. So I have carried this. But overall, I've carried this maybe like 1/5, a quarter of the time that I've carried this knife. But yeah, for being dropped so much and, the places it got dropped on, like right here, you can see it really did dent in, fuck up the handle. I think I dropped that one on rocks or something, but everywhere else, it's held up really well. Besides like these corners where it's really gotten fucked up, but I don't mind that battle damaged look, It looks pretty. It looks nice when it's worn in. And the grind on here, it does not look like that when it's from the factory. If you compare it to this one, it has a chisel grind. Both of these do. So if you don't know what that is, if you don't know what a bevel is, it's the shiny part of the blade, the part that contacted the stone to be sharpened out. And right here on this side of the blade, it's that thick, but on this side, it's really fucking thin. And on this one, it looked exactly the same from the factory, but over time, little by little, from sharpening it, it just kind of widened that bevel out. And I didn't like intentionally do that, but I wanted it to be like that because I didn't like that thin little bevel on the other side, because obviously they can't just sharpen it on one side only because it's called the chisel grind, but they have to sharpen it on both sides because then there'll just be a bunch of fucking burr on this side. So you have to touch it up with just a little fine bevel. And I I didn't really care for that because I knew sharpening it, I was just going to end up widening the bevel anyways. The names on here, if you're confused with the CRKT names, M16 usually means Tonto blade, and M21 is a spear point. But here's a case of a M16 knife that doesn't have a Tonto blade. That's a spear point, obviously. So I don't know why this one was a spear point and it's named the M16. But that's what the first part of the name is, and the second part, 14, that's the size of the knife. If you see 14, 13, 12, or the 10 is the smallest one, that's showing the sizes, and then the 1 in the name is the grind. It means partially serrated or plain edge. Like they have in M21-04. It's not a SF version. It has a little nub like that to keep your hand from slipping on the blade, but that's about it. And it has like gray aluminum handles, same steel and everything, same fat, thick spear point, but just no dual hilt and plain edge blade. And I love that knife. When I first saw it, it's discontinued now. You won't be able to find it anywhere. It sucks. So I wish they made this knife just with a plain edge. And obviously you can get a Dremel, you can customize it, touch it up if you wanted to, but I'm not trying to do all that shit. I like the way the grind is, from the factory. How it's kind of, it widens out. The blade gets wider towards the end, towards the tip of the blade. Like if you just looked at the actual edge, the grind, the cutting edge, it just reminds me of like a kukri for some reason. It's not exaggerated as a kukri, how the curves, but it kind of, the serrations, it goes like that, and then it goes out as the belly, sweeps up. Yeah. So I would really love a plain edge version of this knife. So pocket carry time, yeah, I've carried this one way more than I've carried this one. When I first got these knives, I got them around the same time, so they were both like a month apart or something like that. I was in love with this Tanto. I thought I liked it way more than this one, or I did like it way more, but I thought I was going to be using this way more, but after carrying this, the M21, just having that slicing capability, not having that flat edge, well, it's not exactly flat, it's a little curved, but compared to having belly like this, it's just it just slices way different. And stabs, this isn't as stabby, it's not as pokey, in the point, but it'll get the job done if you have to stab through shit. And it has that nice fucking belly, so you can power cut into fucking material, and has a thick ass blade, so you don't gotta worry about it bending, snapping, anything like that. It has a hollow saber grind kind of on it, I guess you would say. So it's not really good for food prep. It's not like a Police 4, full flat grind. This thing is pretty much like made for slicing apples. That's what I use it for. You could do some light food prep, but mostly I would use this for self-defense. A self-defense option first, and EDC second. That's why this one, it's pretty much, you could use it, EDC, cutting open boxes and shit like that, but this is mostly just for self-defense. Like if I had to choose one of these to go into battle with, I was going to war or some shit, I'd definitely choose this one. But cutting open boxes and shit like that, slicing through some paper, you'd be carrying your knife and cutting through boxes and envelopes and packages way more than you're going to be stabbing someone in a self-defense situation. So I would much rather have this for an EDC knife. I would have fucking both of them. Obviously I do, but if you had to choose, I would choose this one, the M21. Just it has that all around better slicing capability. Now the lock on here, the lockup. It has a really strong lockup. It doesn't move like up and down, side to side. Really, it doesn't lock up like a cold steel, like a bank vault. But it's really strong. But if you really, really try to wobble it, you feel a slight bit of movement. But the liner, I feel like the liner is just, it's a little thin compared to the, you know, the knife overall being a tank of a knife, having these strong, you know, aluminum handles and shit like that, and it has the hilts, you know, so your hand won't slip onto the blade. I just feel like that liner should be a little thicker. I feel like it's just kind of a wimpy liner. And they have this auto locks thing, if you didn't know. Just a flat piece of metal with a spring that has another little bent piece of metal that's attached to it that slides in front of that liner. So if you were using the knife and you accidentally push it over, it wouldn't close the knife unless you were pushing that down. But even pushing that over when the locks thing is in place, you can even feel it moves. It's not fully locked up, so it's not going to close on your hand if you accidentally hit the liner, but I don't like that, knowing that if I did accidentally push it, it would be all wobbly like that. But I've never had a problem of accidentally hitting the liner and closing it on my hand. And the way this waves, I just love that shit because it's not a thumb disc. It's not like a thumb plate like on a cold steel, which those work good, but it's just not, it's not like a T-shaped, like a Spyderco PM2 or a Spyderco Endura with a Emerson little wave thingy. It's like a hook. It's like curved like that. So there's like a little space for material that would have to get hooked on it to open it. But this, you know, like if you had like an edge of a fucking table or something, pretend my hand's a table, this is like the top of it. You can go like that, and you can just fucking wave it out. I don't know which scenario you would have to do that, or fucking waving it like that. But yeah, it just, you can do shit like that, and you can wave it easier with that style of the dual hilt. So yeah, I really love that. The smoothness on this, honestly, it's not smooth at all. When it was brand new, it was probably way smoother because I've carried this one less, and for some reason, these are like the same, you know, the tension, how I fucking like me putting Loctite on them and tightening them and tweaking them and shit. Like one isn't tighter than the other, and this one for some reason is way more smooth, slightly. And I think it's because of these thick ass Teflon. It's like a penny fucking thick Teflon washer, and then right here they have a bronze like copper washer. I don't know why they didn't just put two of those, but I'm thinking just over time carrying the knife, it getting worn out and fucking gritty and grimy and shit. And I've cleaned it too. Like I've wiped it down and disassembled it and cleaned it with rubbing alcohol. But still, it's not buttery smooth like a Spyderco or a Benchmade or some shit. And it's just, I'm thinking it's from those washers. But something like this, it has the same setup. It's a Teflon washer with a little bronze, copper bullshit, whatever you call it. And this one like drops shut for some reason. Like if the liner thing isn't in the way, the auto locks, and you just push the liner, it wants to drop shut. But this one, you push the liner. I'm thinking it's maybe from the coating on the blade. That's what I thought. Because this one doesn't, this one is smooth, but it doesn't drop shut either. If you hit the liner, it wouldn't. I don't know, but like deploying the knife, it's not a problem. Using the flipper, there's no problem using that, because when I looked up the weight, I didn't know the weight on the knife. I looked it up on Blade HQ, and I saw a review on this, and someone was like, "Oh, there's no possible way to, you know, deploy the knife, actuate the knife with one smooth movement of the flipper without flicking your wrist like that." And I'm just like, what? There's no way to flip it out in one smooth motion, really. Like a light switch. Oh, that one I fucked up. Yeah. I don't know. I have my shit tightened down really. It's really tight, so it doesn't there's no wobble, so it's not as smooth as maybe another M21 out there, but there's no problem using the flipper, so I don't know. And then the auto locks, people complain. Everyone that fucking leaves reviews is just like, it's impossible to close this with one hand. Like, they just have some pussies out there leaving these reviews. Like, they don't know how to fucking use their knife, or they have their shit torqued down too tight or whatever the fuck. I don't know. But you can literally take out that spring and just have it as like a manual locks, or you can just take out the spring and the fucking little plate altogether if you wanted to just have it as a liner lock. I just leave it as it is. It doesn't really bother me. I like knowing there's that extra little piece of material that would stop it from moving over if I accidentally hit it. But it hasn't been a problem for me. So the variants of this knife, like I said, they have a M21-04, then I have this one, and then I have the M16-14SF, which is the medium one, and then I have the smallest one they have, which is like this one, but it doesn't have the auto locks, it doesn't have aluminum. I think the blade is like just under 3 inches, maybe 2.8 or something. But yeah, I have that one, have the 13SF. And I want to get the M16-14Z SF. Imagine this knife, but it looks just like that with the desert and bead blast blade, yeah. It was like $40-$50 back in the day. Now they're charging like $60 for it. So, is this blade worth it? For the price they're asking for it today, I would say yeah, it's worth it. This one, $100. I don't know if you want to pay $100 for it, fuck it, but I wouldn't say that one's worth $100. This knife could definitely last you the rest of your life if you take care of it. You see how it looks after 5 years. Yeah, it's been beat to shit, but it's still kicking. So yeah, I would say it's worth it. If you don't have any CRKTs, if this is your first CRKT, it would be a kick-ass CRKT for your first. So that's my CRKT M21-14SF 5-year review. I'm out.